So we started by remembering what discrete and continuous mean. So discrete, again, that means that if you were going to graph the solutions, then the only solutions would be the points that you're graphing. You would not connect the points that because you would not include any fractions or decimals. Where continuous is where you've got some kind of line and you've got some solutions and it does make sense to connect the dots. So in this case, this one we would call continuous and this one is called discrete because it doesn't make sense to connect the dots. For example, some other examples rather than just the graph, situations that you might have for discrete is the number of dogs at the pound, or because you can't have half a dog, or number of students at school, or maybe it's um, the number of birds in the air, or the number of um, pineapples that you pick, because typically you would pick a full pineapple, not half of a pineapple. Another example we've done is a person laughs 15 times in a day, so this is laughs. Laughing would be discrete because you either laugh or you don't. You don't have half a laugh or 3/4 of a laugh. So some examples that would be continuous might be, let's say, water draining in a pool. Or maybe it's um, you go and see a movie, um, the length of a movie. Because the movie could vary in length. The movie could be um, an hour and 45 minutes. It could be an hour and 36.2 minutes. So the length of a movie is the movie is continuously filming until it's over. um, Another situation, continuous would be speed. So uh, you could figure out the speed of birds flying. Speed of birds. So because the speed of a bird, they could be going at 72 miles per hour. They could be going at 20.7 miles per hour. So you can have all different kinds of speeds, and it doesn't have to be exact numbers. It can be decimals. So 20.5 will work miles per hour. And that's why speed will work. Also, let's say I can run about 5 miles. Well, that means that I can run about 5.1, I could run 4.8, I could run 4.99 miles. So it doesn't have to be exact, and that would be continuous. This one is a good review, especially when we're going to take a quiz that has a question similar to this. Susanna heard some exciting news about a well-known celebrity. Within a day, she told 4 people who hadn't heard the news. By the next day, each of those friends told 4 people who hadn't heard the news. By the next day, each of those people told 4 more, and so on. Assume the rumor continues to spread in this manner. Write the equation. So, in this case, Susanna heard some exciting news about the celebrity. Then, after a day, the 4 friends will know the rumor. So at 0 days, Susanna knows the rumor. After a day, there's 4 new people that know the rumor. And then after 2 days, so here's her 4 friends that now know the rumor. Here's Susanna, she told all of them. And now each of those 4 people are going to tell someone new. And so they're all going to tell 4 people. And so if I have 4, 4, 4, and 4, I get 16. So now after 2 days, there's 16 people that know the rumor, and then it's going to keep spreading in that manner. So it says write an equation for this situation. Well, I'm going to stick with f of 0 times r to the x. I kind of gave it away that this is exponential, but if you notice that it's definitely not adding, because 1 plus 3 is 4, and you're not adding 3 to get 16. So this is multiplying by 4 here, and that's why I wrote out an exponential form. So for this, we're going to have y equals, the 0 term is 1, the r is 4, because it's timesing by 4, and it's raised to the x. And so that's our equation. It says which day will at least 100,000 people hear the rumor for the first time. So if we were to think about this, x is actually representing days, and y is representing the number of people that hear the rumor, hearing rumor. And so because y represents people, we're not putting 100,000 in for x, we're putting it in for y. And so if we were going to figure this out, we'd have 1 times 4. You don't really need the 1. And then we'd plug some numbers in for the exponent and see when are we going to have at least 100,000 people. And it turns out it will take 9 days. And then anything after 9 days will also get to at least 100,000 people, because it's going to keep going up and up and up from there. I'm going to skip the last 2 questions and move on. So this is slope-intercept form, which is our main topic for this video. If the slope is 2 and f of 0 is 3, what is the equation? So we're taking what we know about arithmetic and linear. I didn't mean to put 0, but I guess I could put 0 here. We could also say this is f1 plus m and x minus 1. This is what I've had written on the board forever. And so slope, the letter we use for slope is m. And so we know m is 2. And f0 is 3. So in terms of this equation, we know the 0 term. So we're actually looking at the top one that's written out. So f0, remember, anytime we have a chance to use the 0 term, that's when we want to use, because that already simplifies our equation and we don't have to do that. So the 0 term is 3. The slope is 2, which means it's repeatedly adding 2 every time. And then we have x minus 0, which I don't need to put the minus 0. So this is just y equals 3 plus 2x. And I wanted you to see that this is really mx plus b. I could write it this way, or I could write it this way. It doesn't matter which way. And so that 3 is also representing b, which we also know that is your y-intercept. So if you were to graph this, we'd start at 3, and we'd go up 2 over 1 to graph the solutions. So all of these 3 things, the y-intercept, the f0, and the b, they're all the same thing. So we know the slope is negative 1. I'm going to write out what I wrote out in the last one. And the y-intercept is 5. Again, y-intercept means it's also known as the b value, and it's also known as the f0, or the 0 term. So it's giving us the 0 term again, even though we call it the y-intercept. It's also known as 0 term. So that's 5 the slope or the pattern, it's going down 1 every time, and then x minus 0, which is just the same as y, equals 5 minus, and technically I don't even need to put the 1, and I don't need to put the 0, so I can just put minus x. Again, this is the same as if I wrote y equals and I switch them around and I put negative x plus 5. Because here the 5 is positive, here it's positive, here the x negative, here it's negative. So it doesn't matter which way you write it, 5 minus x or negative x plus 5. They're the same thing. So again, this time it just says the b value. We know that's the y-intercept, but we also know that is the 0 term, which is negative 4 in this case. But I also, one more thing about this that you should know is that I can write the 0 term like this. I could also write the 0 term like this. So either way it's the same thing because you have x and you have y here, and here f of x equals y, if you remember that from me saying that. So we have y equals, we're going to plug in a number, m, and then x minus our term number. So in this case, we have y equals, we know the 0 term this time, or the y number, the output, is negative 4 plus our pattern number. It's going up, it's adding 2 over 3. 2 over 3. And then x minus, and again the x number or the input number, the term number, is 0. And so the best or most simplified way, we could write it this way. And again, we could switch those two things around and it would be the same thing. So now we've got m equals negative 2.3, so our slope, and a solution point that we know is 0, 4. So we have x and we have y, or we could also write this as f of 0 equals 4. So again, we're given the 0 term, just like the other one, so we're filling in these blanks, just like the last time. So truly, when we fill in our blanks, notice that the f of 0, the 0 term, is 4. So I'd put the 4 here. But notice that that's also that's the y number. That's our output. So I want you to keep that in mind because we might not always be given the 0 term. It's taking 2.3 away each time. So I'm going to minus 2.3. And then x and minus. Again, this time it's the 0 term, so it's minusing 0. But notice that that's the x value that we're given in our point. So we have y equals, if I simplify this, we just have that. Alright, so remember last time how I said we want to keep in mind that this is x and this is y. I could also write this as f of 4 equals 6. The fourth term is 6. So we have y equals, remember how I wrote a y here, plus m, and then x minus our x number, our input number. So we're going to have y equals, it's kind of nice because the y is closest to the y, and the x number gets put closest to the x. So here, we're using the fourth term, and so the fourth term, or the y number, is 6. The slope, it's adding 3/4 each time. And then x minus, our term number is 4, which is also known as our x value. So we're going to minus the 4. And that would be our equation. We could simplify it by distributing the 3/4. If I do that, I have y equals